You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Called the USA, and we fly our flag cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. Never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. It is so good to be back. Finally, we have the mothership on track again. We have me on track again, and yeah, the rumors are true. You heard it out there today. She's back. Polita Bunny. And Orty will be back right after me on KLRN Radio starting tonight. It's a good night. So, without further ado, since we have so much to get through that we didn't get to cover before, let's start kicking some things around. I saw this on Twitter very, very briefly, but nothing really got made much of this. It didn't really turn into a big news story, but there's video of a Trump supporter at a Social Distortion concert. If you don't know who Social Distortion is, you can look them up. They're an old punk band. But the lead singer of the band, Mike Ness, and this Trump supporter apparently had a little difference of opinion during the show when Ness went political on the microphone, and the fan yelled that he was there for the music, not the politics. Ness then asked him to approach the stage, and when he got close enough, Ness spit on him. Well, the guy didn't try to climb the wall and go up on stage or anything like that. He backed up to his chair, and he gave Ness the classic one-finger salute for 2 songs in a row. Ness motioned for him to come back up to the stage, and when the guy approached the stage, Ness leaped off the stage and pounded him. The dude's got like a broken orbital socket, broken nose. He's got all kinds of lumps and bruises and cuts where he was actually held by other fans trying to keep him from, protecting himself and fighting Ness off. And Ness was beating the hell out of him the whole time he was being held. So, I've been watching. I actually saw the video, the video that was floating around. The guy, at first I saw his story and it was just written. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, it didn't really happen that way. But after finding the video, yeah, it pretty much happened the way he told it. And you know how I am, folks. I'm one of those people that you hear a story, you got to get both sides, and usually you find the truth somewhere in the middle of the two. This guy was pretty straight arrow. I mean, it happened just like he said. So anyway, Mike Ness of Social Distortion is likely to become a lot poorer in the near future. And we'll just have to keep an eye out and see where that goes. But all that over politics. because people can't keep their politics in their pants. What are you going to do? Next up, the city of San Francisco. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. No, it's not about the straws. It is not about the straws. Although that is quite humorous that they've jumped on that bandwagon too, considering all the plastic needles that lay around in their streets from the junkies that they, hand them out. So, but anyway, the city of San Francisco is actually forming a new branch of city government. It's the Poop Patrol. That's right. You heard me correctly. The Poop Patrol is officially being formed in the city of San Francisco to clean up the human feces from the sidewalks in town, in the city. There's so much of it that they actually have to hire people to go around and clean it up. Can you imagine what that must be like walking to work in a major metro? Or hell, even just walking a couple of blocks. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that's going on out there. So big 2 thumbs up for San Francisco. What can I tell you? We'll catch you on the backside. What else is going on? Oh yeah, the big gorilla, Manafort's conviction and Cohen's admission or plea deal, as we call it. You can shape it any way you want to. You can, obviously the Manafort thing does not affect the president so much as maybe the Cohen thing, but this is really not a good week for President Trump, and you can shape it however you want to, but when you get right down to it, it's just really not a good week this week. What else we got going on? Masterpiece Cake Shop in Colorado. This is the story that we read about a couple of weeks back, where the Supreme Court actually backed them, found in their favor that they did not have to actually write a message on the cake supporting LGBTQIAP requests to do so. They are a small company, privately held, and they said that goes against their religious beliefs. They are happy to bake a cake for them, and they are happy to decorate the cake for them. However, they will not write the inscripted message that they wanted on the cake. And the case was, their beliefs were upheld by the Supreme Court. And now the state of Colorado is angry about this and are going after them again. So we'll have to keep our eye on Masterpiece Cake Shop. It's obvious that they want more than just a cake. They don't even want contrition. They want to force you to celebrate their beliefs and not your own. So anyway, what else is going on here as we thumb things around? Oh, yeah. We have a murder suspect in custody in the case of the missing Iowa young lady, Molly Tibbetts. There's some conjecture going around. There's been stories that this suspect is in the country illegally. This afternoon, his attorney said that he was not in the country illegally and that he had been e-verified before being employed at a dairy. And then I just got wind of another story where now the people from the dairy are saying that they ran his social security number, but it wasn't necessarily through e-verify. And they honestly just kind of don't know whether he's legal or not at this point, I would think. And I also caught wind of something right before coming on air that he has now confessed. I don't know if that's true or not, I did not have time to dig in deeper, but anyway, there you have it. Things we're not going to talk about during the big show, but that are happening in the world around us that you might need to know about. Now, on to the big stuff. The federal government collected a record, let's see, that's million, that's billion, yeah, $1.415 trillion in individual income taxes through the first 10 months of fiscal year 2018. That's according to the monthly Treasury statement. But the federal government also ran a $683.9 billion deficit for those 10 months, according to the same statement. The previous record for individual income tax collections in the first 10 months of the fiscal year was, drumroll please, last year. They collected $1.351 trillion last year. So we have a, let's see, what is that? About a $64 billion increase year to year. So, despite the record amount in individual income taxes collected in the first 10 months of this fiscal year, overall federal tax collections declined in the first 10 months of this fiscal year. But guess why that is? Guess why that is? In the October through July period of fiscal year 2017, yeah. We know that. We know there's a difference. Be more concise with the notes, Seymour. So while individual income taxes collected during the first 10 months of the fiscal year increased from last year, corporate income tax collections declined. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't sound fair, but think about that raise you got and that bonus you got, and the declination in business taxes is what provided for that. So there's a balance there, okay? Just be wary of what it is. So the Treasury collected $239 billion in corporate income taxes, and then this year they collected, the $239 billion was last year. This year, in the same time period, $166 billion in corporate income taxes. So let's see, that's 34 plus 39 is 9 and 5 is 14. That's $74 billion difference. And I think if you look at the pay raises and the bonuses and the reinvestment in corporate spending, like what your company's investing in you equipment-wise and things of that nature, I think you'll find that about balances out right. So my big concern is this $683.9 billion deficit. I'd like to really, really see that come under control a whole lot more. I'm not a fan of deficit spending at all. But, right now, things are kind of crazy, and I don't think anybody's even really minding what's being spent. So there is that. Whatever. It is what it is. We're going to press on. The big story I wanted to get to 2 weeks ago that we didn't get to, and that we didn't get to do last week because the mothership got the magnets crisscrossed and got all discombobulated. The fallacies of global warming. And this is a pretty big piece. It's going to take a little while to go through. But bear with me, because what I'm doing here is I'm going to go back over the last 30 years of what we've been told. If we don't do this, this is going to happen. because this happened, this is going to happen. Or because this happened, this isn't going to happen. We're going to take a look at a lot of these erroneous alarm bells and dog whistles that have been thrown in our faces and blown in our ears, going back to 1970 something. So anyway, if the current pace, now listen to this, okay? If the current pace of the buildup of these gases continues, the effect is likely to be a warming of 3 to 9 degrees Fahrenheit between now and the year 2025 to 2050. The rise in global temperature is predicted to cause sea levels to rise by 1 to 4 feet by the middle of the next century. That was from Philip Shabakov in his Global Warming Has Begun piece in the New York Times, June 24th, 1988. It has been 30 years since the alarm bell was sounded for man-made global warming caused by modern industrial society. And predictions made on that day and ever since continue to show themselves to be false in the real world. The predictions made by climate scientists James Hansen and Michael Oppenheimer back in 1988 and reported as model projected by journalist Philip Shabakov constitute another exaggerated Malthusian scare. Joining those of the population bomb, Paul Ehrlich, resource exhaustion, Club of Rome, peak oil, M. King Hubbert, and global cooling, John Holdren. Consider the opening global warming salvo quoted above. Dire predictions of warming and sea level rise are well on their way to being falsified, and by a lot, not a little. Meanwhile, a CO2-led global greening has occurred, and climate-related deaths have plummeted as industrialization and prosperity have overcome statism in many areas of the world. Take the midpoint of the above's predicted warming, 6 degrees. At the 30-year mark, how's it looking? The increase is about 1 degree and largely holding. And by the way, that 1 degree actually extends a lot further back from the 30-year mark, and it's closer to 100 years. We've seen about 1 degree and holding. And remember, the world has naturally warmed since the end of the Little Ice Age to the present. A good thing if climate economists are to be believed. Now, turning to sea level rise, the exaggeration appears even greater. Both before and after the 1980s, decadal sea level rise has been a few inches, and it's not been appreciably accelerating. The rate of sea level rise during the period 1925 to 1960 is as large as the rate of sea level rise in the past few decades, noted climate scientist Judith Curry. Human emissions of CO2 mostly grow after 1950, so humans don't seem to be to blame for the early 20th century sea level rise, nor for the sea level rise in the 19th and late 18th centuries. The sky is falling pitch went from bad to worst when scientist James Hansen was joined by politician Al Gore. Sea levels could rise 20 feet, Gore said in his Inconvenient Truth documentary, a prediction that has brought rebuke even from those sympathetic to the climate cause. In the same book/movie, Gore prophesied that unless the world dramatically reduced greenhouse gases, we would hit a quote-unquote point of no return. Now, in his book review of Gore's effort, James Hansen unequivocally stated, we have at most 10 years, not 10 years to decide upon action, but 10 years to alter fundamentally the trajectory of global greenhouse emissions. Time is up on Gore's point of no return and Hanson's critical tipping point, but neither one will own up to their exaggeration or made new predictions as if they will suddenly be proven right. Now, another scare and hide prediction came from Rajendra Pachauri. While head of the United Nations Climate Panel, he pleaded that without drastic action before 2012, it would be too late to save the planet. Now, that same year, Peter Wadhams, professor of ocean physics at the University of Cambridge, predicted global disaster in the demise of Arctic sea ice in 4 years. Now, Professor Wadhams has also gone silent in recent years. Nothing new. Back in the late 80s, the United Nations claimed that if global warming were not checked by the year 2000, rising sea levels would wash entire countries away. Now, there is some levity in this charade. In 2009, then British Prime Minister Gordon Brown predicted that the world had only 50 days to save the planet from global warming. But 50 days, 6 months, and 8 years later, the Earth seems fine. Now, the Democratic Party platform heading into the 2016 election compared the fight against global warming to World War II. World War III is well and truly underway, declared Bill McKibben in the New Republic, and we're losing. Those opposed to a new quote-unquote war effort were compared to everything from Nazis to Holocaust deniers. Heading into the 2016 election, Washington Post columnist Eugene Robinson warned that a vote for Trump is a vote for climate catastrophe. In Mother Jones, Professor Michael Clary similarly argued that electing green-minded leaders, stopping climate deniers or ignorers from capturing high office, and opposing fossil-fueled ultra-nationalism is the only realistic path to a habitable planet. Guess what? Trump won the election, and the shrill got shriller. Trump's climate policies would create dozens of failed states south of the U.S. border and around the world, opined Joe Romm at Think Progress. It would be a world where everyone eventually becomes a veteran, a refugee, or a casualty of war, he said. Now, this piece is going to continue. We're just about to the bottom of the hour here. Want to get you ready for the commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive back in to the fallacies of global warming right as we leave off here. Just wanted to remind you, and I'm going to remind you again a couple more times, coming up at the top of the hour, Politabunny and Orty are back in the KLRN fold, family back where they belong. FUBAR will be coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to take our break now. Stay tuned. And we'll be right back to finish the climate lies.
Oh, but ain't that America? For you and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Little pink houses. Anyway, welcome back. Again, as I told you right before the break, I was going to remind you at least a couple more times. Fubar at the top of the hour, Bunny and Orty will be in the house. Permanent now. Yeah, permanent. I love it. Anyway, where we left off, climate fallacies, the lies. So then we go to Vox, and Brad Plummer at Vox joined in, and he said, Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States. We're at risk of departing from the stable climatic conditions that sustained civilization for thousands of years and lurching into the unknown. The world's poorest countries, in particular, are ill-equipped to handle this disruption. Renewable energy researcher John Abraham contended that Trump's election means we've missed our last off-ramp on the road to catastrophic climate change. And not to be outdone, Noam Chomsky argued that Trump is aiding the destruction of organized human life. Do any of you feel like you're being killed by the president right now? That his climate policies are killing you?
No, but net neutrality killed me about 6 months ago.
Oh, well, you know, there you go. Net neutrality.
I'm the ghost of Rick's producer past.
I love it. So if science is prediction, the Malthusian science of sustainability at best is pseudoscience. But worse, by not fessing up, by doubling down on the doom and gloom, the scientific program as a whole is being compromised by these people. In their efforts to promote their cause, the scientific establishment behind the global warming issue has been drawn into the trap of seriously understating the uncertainties associated with the climate problem. This behavior risks destroying science's reputation for honesty. It's this objectivity and honesty which gives science a privileged seat at the table. And without that objectivity and honesty, scientists become regarded as another group of lobbyists, basically. Granted, smarter ones, but still just lobbyists, because all they're doing is agenda pushing. They're not presenting facts. Even DC establishment environmentalists have worried about a backfire. In 2007, two mainstream climate scientists warned against the Hollywoodization of their discipline. They complained about a lot of inaccuracies in the statements we are seeing and have to temper that with real data. To which Al Gore responded, "I'm trying to communicate the essence of global warming in the lay language that I understand." So, making shrill threats. There has to be a lot of shrillness taken out of our language, remarked Environmental Defense Fund's Fred Krupp in 2011.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month.
Sorry, I was checking something. Sam, I don't know what you're doing wrong, because as you could hear, well, you're here in about 30 seconds, it's going to start playing the Progressive ads, so I don't know what you're doing wrong, but it's even working for me, so yay.
Is Sam already on trying to screw with things?
She's in the chat room complaining that she can't hear it. I'm like, even the Amish guy can figure it out, so I'm not sure what to tell you.
Time to move the rabbit ear antennas around, you know?
Something.
So anyway, quit barking on my time, bunny. In the environmental community, we have to be more humble, said Krupp. We can't take the attitude that we have all the answers. Now, most recently, Elizabeth Arnold, longtime climate reporter for NPR, warned that too much fear and gloom leading to apocalypse fatigue should be replaced by a message of hope and solutions, lest the public disengage. I think they missed their window already. Most people roll their eyes when they hear this stuff now. But taxes and statism doesn't sound good. Now, if the climate problem is exaggerated, that issue should be demoted. Enter an unstated agenda of deindustrialization and the quest for money and the power that otherwise might be beyond reach of the climate campaigners. It all gets back to what Tim Wirth, the U.S. Senator from Colorado, stated at the beginning of the climate alarm. This behavior, he said, risks destroying science's reputation for honesty. No, that's not what he said, because that's a repeat in the notes, Seymour. That's one box of Steakums gone.
Seymour, I get your Steakum this week.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to send it to you, Rick. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it to you. So what did Tim Wirth say? Well, here's what Tim Wirth had to say. He said, "We have got to ride the global warming issue. Even if the theory of global warming is wrong, we'll be doing the right thing in terms of economic policy and environmental policy." Now, right thing in terms of economic and environmental policy, that's a whole nother fallacy that we get to explore on another day, because I can promise you that there's a guy that's going to be on the air in about 20 minutes, and he's actually a little deeper into the climate change thing than I am, but I think one night we'll get Orty to come on with me, and we're going to really kick this thing around deep and long. So anyway, just real quick, as I scroll my notes here, because we're wrapping that climate story up. You guys, you really should stay tuned and listen, because not only are they a lot more fun, whoops, there go my glasses. They cut up a little more and have a little more fun, and that's a good thing. And I need to do more of that. So, look for more of that coming in the future. But just good people. You can't go wrong. So anyway, and I'm not going to stroke their ego anymore, but next up, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Yes, chief, not an engine. She's asking the Trump administration to seriously examine recommendations from her Massachusetts constituents on keeping schools safe. Now, you're going to like this, okay? Hand-selected constituents filled out 384 surveys. These are 384 people that are educators, administrators, and parents that are all registered Democrats and all are supporters of Liz Warren. They filled out their surveys. This is what she's presenting as serious data to the White House. So this survey is to reduce gun violence in schools, by the way. So this is what she thinks should happen to reduce gun violence in schools. Rejecting policies that put more guns in schools. In other words, no guns in the hands of untrained teachers. What about trained teachers? Notably, roughly 90% of the respondents expressed the view that arming teachers would not reduce rates of gun violence in school. And the news release announcing the survey results said the same thing. However, the survey found that roughly 57% of respondents, mostly school administrators, indicated that arming school resource officers and guards would make students and teachers more safe. They want to strengthen existing gun laws, making it harder to get firearms. For the mentally ill or former prisoners or felons, things like that? No, for everybody. For law-abiding citizens, they want to make it harder on you to exercise your constitutional rights. Nearly 70% of respondents cited firearm access as a primary cause of gun violence in school. But they don't spell out how they mean that. Many identified strong gun regulation as a key way to reduce violence. It's worked really well in Chicago, by the way, Liz. You should check them out. They stellar record with gun violence in Chicago over the last several years. I think you can really agree that their strong anti-gun legislation has helped out tremendously there. Increasing support for mental health services. This is one we can all agree on. Okay? You don't have to be a Republican or Democrat. We do need to do a better job with mental health services, and we do need to do a better job of reporting with this in cases where it is believed that the individual could be a danger to themselves or others. They do not need to have access to firearms. And again, I'm not saying I have all the answers here. I don't know who should make that determination and to what level it should be made, and how you get yourself removed from a list like that should you ever be put on one. I know we need to do something. That's all I'm saying. Okay? I don't have the answers. Shocking, right? I don't even have all the facts. That's why I stress to you people, it's not enough to listen to me. It's not enough to just read one article. You have to do your own damn homework. You have to study these issues. You have to know what the facts are. You have to know where the data's coming from. It's not easy.
I was told this is a homework-free environment, sir. I protest.
you can protest if you like, sir, but it's not easy to stay up to date on everything that affects our lives that's happening in government. It's not. But when you go to the polls and vote, do you just pick somebody based on the way they look or based on the policies they want to back?
I don't know. Kind of depends on how they look in those chaps. I'm just saying. I'm just playing.
Well, I mean, I can understand. I can. Yeah, I can. Just a little. But really, I mean, if that were the case, I mean, let's face it. Ted Cruz is an ugly guy, and he's running against a younger, halfway decent-looking fella, Irish, by the way, who's pretending to be Hispanic, but, nonetheless, Beto is, he is a younger guy. He's more hip with the kids and things of that nature. But guess what? He's shallow on policy. He doubles down on the failures that we just left behind 2 years ago when we had nationwide elections. So, just a thought. Now, in the same survey, about 2/3 of the respondents generally support enhancing school building security, although they do not consider it a solution. They also expressed, quote unquote, substantial concern that hardening school buildings, as the nation does with airports, courthouses, and the halls of Congress, for example, would undermine nurturing, supportive learning environments for students. In other words, they want there to still be a risk of danger, just so the kids feel special. Now, the two Massachusetts Democrats sent this survey titled "Keeping Schools Safe: Perspectives from Massachusetts Educators and Families." So you like how they title that? I mean, they make it sound like it's this big, huge statewide referendum thing. No, less than 400 hand-picked Liz Warren constituents and fans. But they sent this thing to Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, who chairs the President's Commission on School Safety. Now, Massachusetts has the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country, and can serve as a model for the federal government to develop policies that will keep our students and communities safe, said Warren. We're going to come back to that in just a second. And she urges Secretary DeVos and the commission to take those recommendations from the constituents seriously and act now. Warren and Clark sent the survey to 8 education organizations, including the teachers' unions and the PTA, asking them to voluntarily circulate it, so they say, among their members. So of that turnaround, they got 384 responses to the survey. I'm not buying it for a minute, but let's back up a minute, okay? Let's go back into Warren's comment here that Massachusetts has the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country and can serve as a role model for the federal government to develop policies that will keep our students and communities safe. That is her statement. Now, let me qualify her statement. Massachusetts has the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country because Massachusetts has one of the lowest rates of gun ownership in the country. And that's not because of policy. That's simply because Massachusetts, as a larger body of people, is a strongly left-leaning state. And most left-leaners, politically speaking, don't want to own guns. Therefore, fewer people have them. They make it harder for the ones that want them to get them. So gun ownership is very low in Massachusetts. So, again, they can claim what they want to claim, how they want to claim it, but they can't hide from the facts. And this is why I tell you, always do your homework, because she'll be on TV telling you, oh, we're the lowest rate of gun deaths in the country. Well, yeah, it's true, but why? It's not your policies, because your policies are similar to Chicago, and Chicago is the anti-Massachusetts. There's enough shooting in Chicago to make up for what doesn't happen in the state of Massachusetts. It's absolutely ludicrous that they present this as a serious fix. And, I mean, I'll tell you, who I'd really like to see get a hold of this report and shred it live on the air? I would love to see Dana Lash get a hold of this report and just shred Liz Warren to death with it. Anyway, going to press on. We got a couple more things we can hit. We got a Manhattan federal judge has okayed a lawsuit that accuses Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I know this isn't exactly politics, but this is too much. Too much. And you needed to know about it because it never really got blown up big. Again, the lawsuit accuses Weinstein of being a sex trafficker. The judge gave the thumbs up to the suit, which was filed by aspiring British actress Caden Noble, claiming that the Shakespeare in Love producer violated federal laws against sex trafficking when he lured her to his Cannes, France hotel room with false promises of an acting role for the purpose of sex. Weinstein sought to squash the civil lawsuit by arguing that letting it proceed would unfairly expand the federal sex trafficking statute to all sexual activity occurring between adults in which one party holds a superior position of power and influence. Now, Weinstein's attorneys also claim that Noble's assertions that he engaged in a commercial sex act do not apply to her case because nothing of value was exchanged. How are they going to do this? I don't know. Noble sued Weinstein last year, saying he set her up for an unwanted sexual encounter when they met in London, where he told her that he had a role in mind for her and that it would be good for you. When they met again in February 2014 in Cannes, whatever, the movie producer asked Noble to come to the Le Majestic Hotel and discuss her film reel. Instead, he began massaging her and instructed her to walk up and down the room for him as part of an audition before assaulting her in the bathroom, she claimed. Everything will be taken care of for you if you relax, Noble claims he told her when she resisted his advances. Judge Robert Sweet's ruling noted that other courts have applied civil claims of sex trafficking to defendants who have lured women under false pretenses with lucrative promises for sexual purposes. Here, the pattern of behavior alleged a knowing and understanding that Weinstein would use fraudulent means to entice Noble to engage in a sex act with him, per Judge Sweet. The promise of a film role, the interview for the film role, and the assurances that everything will be taken care of for you if you relax, as he forced her to, I don't know if I can say that. I don't know what our language barrier is, Rick, on this word. Let's say forced her to manually pleasure him supports this, said the judge.
So what you're saying is she went and she was forced to go find a man named Jack Mehoff.
Yes.
Okay. That's
yes. Yes. And the judge did agree to drop Weinstein's brother, Robert Weinstein, as a defendant, saying that the lawsuit doesn't successfully claim that he knew about this instance of his brother's quote-unquote shenanigans. It's one of those legal terms, you know. So, anyway.
Shenanigans.
So
I didn't have the sound bit ready.
Yeah. So Weinstein could not only be in trouble for just, you know, what he's in trouble for, but he could literally end up in jail on sex trafficking charges. And that would pretty much render him incarcerated for the rest of his life. So anyway, there's that fun development in that case. You know, and you know, on behalf of the Me Too movement, Asia Argento, I'm still here, babe. No checkbook needed. Anyway. Wow. Let's see. What do we have? We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. What do we have time for? What do I have? Oh, here we go. Mute. Did you know? Mute 2. 2 goats were spotted roaming on north tracks near Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York, Monday morning. You know? Brooklyn. Goats. Like, what the hell? After about an hour, the Metro Transit Authority said it had to reroute trains on the line so that the police could safely catch the goats. The MTA says it called NYPD and Animal Control about the goats who were on the tracks between the Fort Hamilton and New Utrecht stations before 11 a.m. By 12:30 p.m., the goats were still on the tracks, but they were surrounded. Dun, dun, dun! Transit officials tweeted a picture of the black and white goats, captioning it, "Two very bad boys." North trains were running on the D line in both directions from 36 to Coney, and crews worked to corral the marauders on the tracks. And see, folks, just like that, we ended on a light note for a change. Hey, it's been great. It's time. Fubar's coming right up, right after me. Stay tuned. You're going to have a lot of fun with Orty and Sam. And I have enjoyed being back with you. If you have liked the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome with me every week right here on KLRN Radio as part of the G Nation. Thank you. God bless.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.